I'm sorry, sweetie. Honey Badger doesn't give a shit.
Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
This town needs an enema.
Hey everybody, Joe Dog here. Welcome to Stupid Clock. Everybody's sitting here. We got John, Bill, and Kiri. But I got sort of an announcement to make, and I regret to say, this will be the last Stupid O'Clock for October. We may not be. We may break in and do a special show during HallowCon. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But at this time, there won't be a Stupid O'Clock Thursday or Saturday. John may jump in on his laptop and do a quickie like he did last year. No,
I'm not getting a hotel room this year, so I doubt I'll take any of that stuff with me. I don't know. I could.
All right. Well, I'm taking everything. I'm even going to bring the old microphone and camera with the light ring and everything. May run a hard line out to the patio, do it live from the patio.
Yeah, you do a live remote. I mean, you've been promoting this thing all year long, and when you get down to it, you should do, a show on Saturday night. Set up even if it's at a special time, if it's not at the normal time, obviously, advertise it a little bit earlier in the week, and the rest of us will too.
Yeah.
To show people, hey, this is what goes on at HallowCon.
No, I don't want. We can't air that stuff.
we get arrested.
What, John?
This way, there's a lot of criminal codes that begin with public that we would get arrested for.
Yeah.
Starting with public drunkenness, public. We'll just.
Oh, okay. You're really struggling, aren't you, Bill?
I want to see it.
What do you normally have scheduled for Saturday at 11 at the convention?
Well, actually, Saturday at 11, if you give me just a quick second, I will tell you exactly what is scheduled. Okay, push that button. Saturday at 11. Right now, I don't see anything. Let me check one more thing. Saturday at just dance music by Skunk.
Well,
So I'll see what I can do to get us a good spot. Shoot, if it's not raining, we may do it out by Grillzilla.
Smoke Effect brought to you by Grillzilla.
Yeah.
Can Grillzilla keep everybody warm though?
Depends on how close you get to it.
Well, I know we're supposed to cool off a little bit after Tuesday, maybe Monday, but it's not going to be that drastic. So you guys down there should be pretty decent for the evening. Yeah.
I was
It's real
watching
nice today.
that there is a storm system brewing that could actually spin up some rough weather just west of Tennessee.
The 10-day forecast says showers on Saturday.
Yeah. So we never know what we'll do. We'll figure. I mean, if nothing else, we can set up in that little hallway where they carry everything in and out for Grillzilla. I got enough hard line to fit that door. And enough overhead hooks to hang it.
Joe's thinking now.
Yeah. See, it's y'all's fault.
Y'all.
It went from this is the last stupid o'clock of October to, I
It's
got
our
the
fault.
hooks to hang it.
Shoot, we could even drag Rob Brown in on the show.
I was going to say, have some special guests.
Yeah.
And
Walk on.
I will announce now, Rob is doing the artwork for HallowCon 2023. I'm not saying what it is. I've already seen the teaser art that will be in the program book. And all I'm going to say is, y'all going to love this.
Ooh.
Yeah, Rob, you have absolutely nailed it. Every year, he thought we'd have a semi-warm HallowCon, but every year, the weekend of HallowCon, it got cold. Actually, in 2017, we had snow flurries.
Wow.
And those poor guys out on the grill about froze to death. And I don't mean, it was snow flurries enough that
Yeah, the hotel that we're in is kind of up on a hill, and one of the most exposed areas at the hotel is that area of the parking lot where they put Grillzilla,
yeah,
where the wind comes sweeping down the lane.
yeah, pretty much. It's almost like a wind tunnel effect.
Yeah.
Oh, now, John, see what you've done. Dang you.
What? We'll put our minds to it. We can figure out. There's tables in the gaming area.
I don't have that much cable.
What about right there at the registration table? Where I did it last. That's where I did it last year.
Yeah, and you actually had a good signal. So we'll see what we can do.
I had a good enough signal to get the broadcast going. I had to find that. I wonder if I still got that. Do we still have that?
Carl, you've absolutely nailed it. Bring a sweatshirt, an umbrella, and your fur panties. Because you never know what it's going to be. And John, you know where I got that phrase from. legendary Chattanooga radio announcer. You don't remember?
No.
David Earl Hughes.
Wasn't he on a country station?
Yeah. Well,
That
he on KZ 106, The Morning Zoo.
oh,
That's where he made his break.
I don't remember him. But of course, I remember. Of course, we had David Carroll was on KZ 106 for forever.
Yeah, the mornings.
And I remember when Sam Hall was on there, because he was a senior in high school and had just gotten a job with KZ 106.
Yeah. Carl, go give Donna a back rub. Make her feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind, because I know what'll happen. Don't do that.
I bet Calvin and Charco could perform cat acupuncture on Donna's back and make it feel all better again.
Yeah. Yeah, cat you puncher.
Yeah.
Uh,
Try to say that with a peppermint in your mouth.
okay, Carl says he already did that in the afternoon. That's probably why her back's hurting. Oh. But yeah, we've got, of course, I'm going to give everybody a heads up. We have a paid announcement coming up at midnight, so I need everyone.
Midnight.
What?
For midnight.
The witching hour. Of course, it won't be witching up my way for another hour after that.
How many HelloFresh subscriptions do we have to make for you?
To what?
How many HelloFresh subscriptions do we have to have for you?
Now, have you ever seen how much one of them HelloFresh subscriptions cost?
Mm-hmm.
We tried one, just trial basis kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. They kept sending us all those coupon cards for other stuff. So we don't do HelloFresh anymore, but we do pet meds. So they send us
but HelloFresh, good grief, you can go to the grocery store and shop a bit and get better produce and better meat and a little bit cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Laura uses Chewy.com to buy her cat food for her finicky cats and a lot of the other stuff, because a lot of times with what's everything going on with all the shipping restrictions and not enough trucks, and now we're talking about another trains are not going to be running. They're talking about going on strike again. And if the trains go on strike, of course, you're just not going to have enough semi-drivers to bring stuff. And anyway, she said with her, she just saves a lot of gas money and time and just orders it off of Chewy, and they always have it, and they'll let you know if they're out of stock of something. They're not going to short you on anything.
Well, something Chewy has quit doing that made me mad is there was always pet treats in the box.
Oh, yeah.
Treats. Because we used to use Chewy all the time for stuff.
Yeah. Of course, they always send you a little toy for your pet. So
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah, when Big Dog saw the Chewy box arrive, I swear I think that dog could read.
Hmm.
She would be the first one there at the box to get whatever toy or treat that came out of it. And when I opened it up that time, it didn't have a treat. She was looking at me like, "Hey, look in there again." I thought, well, maybe they just missed it. Then, a couple weeks later, we ordered again. And there she was, right there at the box. It's like, there's no treat. I said, "Yeah, I know, girl." So we just quit using them. She was ready to hurt somebody. Oh crap! I didn't download it. Oh, I had some pictures I wanted to show.
Oh,
You promised.
Yeah, Kerry probably saw it today. We stopped at the Chattanooga Comic Convention today down at the Trade Center. Very good crowd. I do have to brag on them for a first year show on the first day. The place was fairly well packed, but they had a white wolf, a beautiful white wolf. And the guy that played King Ezekiel on The Walking Dead, they brought that up, and he goes, "Oh, I've got to pet the dog." He goes, "Wait a minute, that's not a dog, that's a wolf. I've got to hug the wolf." And I got pictures of him with the wolf, and the wolf just looking at him like, I can deal with this dude.
I was going to say, did the wolf hug him back?
Oh. But yeah, it was a good crowd. I will say that was a very good crowd.
It was really good.
They actually ran out of day badges.
good for them.
They had to go to wristbands, and they're probably just now wrapping up down there.
Yeah, everybody started going home by the time I left the convention. The convention owners were leaving. The only thing that was going on when I left was gaming.
Was gaming all the after hour stuff they had?
Pretty much.
See, these conventions don't know how to do after hours.
I'm hoping next year they'll be able to do some after hours.
I just hope they move to further back into October. Because I'd hate to pull out the big guns for HallowCon, which I'm already loading. John, what are you looking at?
I was reading about the Orville.
Oh yeah, this is the last season of the Orville, from what I hear.
Maybe not. I mean, they're trying to bring back Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. So I'll tell you something right there.
Even Ryan Reynolds don't want to do another Green Lantern. I mean, it was so bad Deadpool killed Ryan Reynolds so he wouldn't do a sequel.
Hey, when you start hearing beep, 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 and it's the truck with all the money that Hollywood is dropping off at your house. All right.
Of course, I saw a picture that I would love. I mean, this is the movie I would go see. Not Spawn. What is it? What is the Black Spider-Man with the
Venom?
Venom
Yeah.
leaning over Deadpool going, "Do it, do it, do it!" And Deadpool has the Loki mask, and he's about to put it on.
I believe Black Adam's in the theaters right now, isn't it? Didn't it just come out?
And Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is coming out. So I don't know if it's out yet or not. I saw the trailer for it today.
Yeah, his sister becomes Black Panther.
Picks up the mantle.
Yep. Them some big shoes to fill.
Now, I heard
Well, you know what they say about Black Panthers with big feet?
Yeah. He's got big toenails.
Has to pay more for shoes.
I heard the only reason why they did that, having her become the new Black Panther now, because they thought it was too soon
To bring in another actor.
And they did say that a third sequel might bring in the new Black Panther to be back to male again. So I don't know if that means that she's there temporarily and gets killed off, or she just kind of gives the mantle over to the new Black Panther, whoever that would be, or how they would do it. I don't know, but
No wonder who they give that to. They'd have to write one heck of a story for that.
Yeah, and Chris says he was talking about Green Lantern. The writing was horrible. Ryan wasn't. And then Rob says,
Right.
I thought Deadpool went back in time to kill Ryan when he was reading the Green Lantern and used the Cable's little time device. Yes, that's.
Mhm.
But from what I hear, the next Deadpool brings in the X-Men.
Yep.
The Ghost of Wolverine.
Yeah, I've seen the teaser trailer where Ryan Reynolds is talking about Hugh Jackman walks behind him and goes,
Ain't gonna happen.
"Ryan." Yeah, he says something, and as he's going up the steps, Ryan goes, "Hey, Hugh, want to play Wolverine again?" "Yeah, Ryan, sure, why not?" And he sounded so excited to say it. And that quick, it is gone. There's two of them. Okay. Well, I'll block both of you.
It's
Mhm.
one of those Russian conscripts that ran to Uzbekistan. That's why it had the funny font. Oh, there they are
Oh
again.
my gosh.
Here we go.
Here we go again.
It's been a while since we've had them.
Really?
You know, we are the best dating site. That's one thing for sure.
You only blocked him for 5 minutes.
Well, it
What
wouldn't
do you
let me. It wouldn't let me block that one or ban that one. So I just put them in timeout for 5 minutes. But it's the same one. I mean, dang, it's been a while. I've missed those guys.
Want to be famous? Click here to buy all new followers.
Yeah. No, it's the Russian bots. I guess the war's winding down and they're getting headed back home.
I told you they're hiding in Uzbekistan or whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry, people that are watching. Yeah, we just had a major spam on one of the YouTube channels, and I was hitting them.
Was it a YouTube?
Yeah, it was YouTube.
I can't find. I just went to all 3 of the YouTubes.
I got them blocked. When I block them,
It kicks them off YouTube too.
yeah,
That's new. YouTube, I had to go there and get them.
yeah, I love.
And we had some.
I love.
We had some Thursday night too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss one night and this whole show goes to heck.
Yeah.
Well, I think wasn't that the first ones we've had in a long time?
Yeah.
Joe, Thursday. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Since Russia attacked the other country. Hey, Stephanie. Stephanie is
Just got back from HallowCon's, actually.
yes.
Yeah. She need to get in here and give us a report.
She's probably too tired, but maybe she'll give us a report. And also, Stephanie, just to let you know, they've talked me into a stupid o'clock on Saturday night.
We did.
Yeah, you
Did we do that? That's...
Mm-hmm.
You
So
saw it here live.
I've just got to figure out how to set everything up and where to set it up to where the music doesn't give us a copyright strike.
I could bring us a green screen here. I want to do that.
Oh, and Chris says Brandy won the Rebel Award.
Nope, she's worn out and in her PJs.
Okay.
That's fair enough.
What do we look like? I mean, got a bunch of tired people wearing whatever. Come on.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what we need. We need to call. We need to start calling that like Joe's pajama party or something. Then we'll really get some of those Russian bots showing up.
Yeah.
There's your after show, John,
There's
when
it.
Dan can't come to do his.
There you
John's
go.
party. Oh.
Oh, that's. I was wondering what the heck you were playing with the laser mouse. All I saw was this right. Let me see if I can do it. Oh, mine won't do it.
Uh-oh. She says you don't like her worn out and in PJs. Yeah, you just relax. And I'll tell you what, Stephanie, just keep watching us and drift off to sleep to our dulcet tones.
I know how to get her.
Laughing, Stephanie.
I know how
Quit.
to get her on. I know how to get her on the page.
What?
NASA faked the moon landing.
Nothing but Nevada.
I want you to know,
There's
Stephanie.
5 words.
Stephanie, don't forget, and you're going to be in the same room with her in less than a week. I wouldn't be saying that. And she said, yeah, she could fall asleep to our dulcet tones. Glad you can.
Strangely enough, I was reading something on a Halloween site the other night about Stanley Kubrick and Shining, the movie The Shining. And it was all these facts about the movie The Shining. And one of them was that he gave hints in the movie The Shining that he had a hand in helping to fake the moon landing. Have you ever heard this theory before?
No.
Because the kid is wearing a sweater that has a Saturn rocket on it and says Apollo 11. And then the room that they're not supposed to go into and they wind up going into anyway is supposedly the same. The room number on the key is supposedly the studio where they filmed it. So apparently he put that in there just to mess with the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. There's Rich. Now, do you know where the conspiracy started?
Sorry, what was that?
I said, there's Rich.
You know, the Apollo moon landing conspiracy theories that it was filmed, it never really happened, sort of thing. And Joe was about to tell us where it started.
It all started from the movie Capricorn 1
Really?
with O.J. Simpson. Because that's what the movie was about.
Right.
They
Well,
faked
it was about a Mars mission.
about a Mars mission. But that's where it all started.
OJ really played Neil Armstrong very well in that movie, I thought. I remember the set that they used on Capricorn 1 where they were faking the moon landing and all that still. Been a long time since I saw that movie, but
Yeah. Bill, I sort of scooted you over so the QR code wouldn't block your face out.
oh, I'm I have this thing where I like to lean.
Me too.
My chair is like butted up against my wall here, and it looks like I have this huge studio that goes back forever, and the big wall of fame and all this, and actually it's an illusion. It's like the TARDIS.
Chris said he thought it was Capricorn 3. It was Capricorn 1.
Capricorn
And
1.
Sarah agrees with me. And it all started after that movie.
Well, I mean, you got Elliot Gould back when he was trying to be an action star. And then James Brolin.
Yeah.
That was one of his early movies. Of course, O.J. Simpson, Al Holbrook, Sam Waterston, Brenda Vaccaro, Karen Black, Telly Savalas. Telly Savalas had such a great role in that thing. He played
Did Hal Holbrook?
Al Holbrook played Dr. James Kellaway. I think
He didn't play Deep Throat? Oh no, that's All the President's Men. Never mind.
Wrong set of movies.
Just as enjoyable though.
Telly Savalas played the it's kind of funny. Hey Joe.
Yeah.
He plays a crazy crop duster pilot. What does that remind you of?
What would that remind me of? I got no clue.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
And I just found out it is streaming on Amazon Prime.
Really?
Free. Which means there's no commercials. Which means I know what I'm going to be watching tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie, see, you're so young you wouldn't even know this movie.
He might. It doesn't get played quite right.
Yeah. But yeah, you need to check
We had a
this
cold
movie
following
out.
for a while.
Yep.
No pun intended.
Which one is it?
Capricorn 1.
Okay.
Oh, I'm reading the trivia on IMDb for Capricorn 1. It says, despite being portrayed as a villain, NASA provided technical assistance, including mock-up spacecraft sets, vehicles, and front screen projection expertise.
Huh. Yeah, they didn't realize what a can of worms that was going to open up. Hey, Josh. Thanks for tuning in. Oh.
Ow.
Oh. We're only 34 minutes in it, and well, I did go to Waffle House and drink 5 cups of coffee.
Why did you do that?
So I could stay awake to be hyped up for this show.
That's fair enough.
So, I'll be right back.
Got to run down the hall.
Time to go down the hall.
Yep.
Jerry Goldsmith, the musical conductor, he wrote the soundtrack for Capricorn 1. Of course, this was back in 1977. And here's what's funny. He also wrote the soundtrack for Star Trek Insurrection. Okay. It says, if you listen to the Insurrection soundtrack at about 3:30 to 3:45 minutes into the soundtrack, you'll hear the distinct theme of Capricorn 1. He snuck it into Star Trek. Okay. It's official. Jerry Goldsmith is a geek.
Every time I see or hear Telly Savalas, of course, the first thing that pops in my mind is, "Who loves you, baby?"
Oh, this is interesting. Barbara Streisand's ex-husband, Elliot Gould, and her current husband, James Brolin, both star in the film. Talk about making a movie with animosity on the set.
Mm-hmm.
Here. Let's see. Oh, fake and fabricated Mars landing scenes have been reused in later film productions of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon and Conspiracy Theory, Did We Land on the Moon? Oh, well.
Oh, actually, okay, it says here that the story is inspired by the conspiracy theories surrounding the Apollo moon landing.
That's what I was wondering. I'm going to look that up.
Not started by
Wikipedia usually, strangely enough, Wikipedia does a good job on conspiracy theory.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Egg.
And which one is the chicken and which one's the egg?
The dinosaurs.
Yeah, dinosaurs laid eggs, so the egg came first.
And a chicken is a mutated dinosaur.
And after millions upon millions of years of evolution, we get chickens. We went from T-Rex, king of the dinosaurs, to
that would be so funny if in real life the T-Rex would go
instead of the roar you always see on the TV movies is if he runs around pecking at the ground.
Yeah.
We can't forget the chicken's crazy cousin, the cobra chicken.
The goose, yeah.
And swans. Swans are evil bastards. I hate swans with a passion.
Yeah. I think Chris nailed it. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? The rooster.
All right, let me see here. Oh,
God, he made them both.
Okay. There is a list of conspiracy theories, and I'm just going to go down this list. Okay, you got your black helicopters, your chemtrails, Korean Airlines Flight 007, Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370, and Malaysian Airlines Flight MH17.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, John. Was it that bad, Rick, that you had to take a swig straight from the bottle?
Yes. The rooster did joke was yes.
Yes.
Well,
he finally got it. Okay.
Yeah. And Stephanie's rolling with the joke.
Let's see. Let's see. Deepwater Horizon was supposedly sabotage. Let's see. New Coke was supposedly sabotage.
New Coke was done to switch the formula to corn syrup with such the taste was so horrible compared to Coke that they had to put out that garbage New Coke to get everybody's taste buds cleansed of the real Coca-Cola flavor.
I did not know this one.
All the other stuff expire on the shelf.
I did not know this one. The death of Nero the Roman emperor. He supposedly committed suicide, but there were some theories that claimed that he actually faked his death and was secretly still alive and hanging out with Elvis. Well, not hanging out with Elvis.
Okay.
And it's supposedly the Book of Revelation alludes to conspiracy theories.
Elvis isn't dead. He just went home.
Of course, the JFK assassination. And then they've got a whole list of figures that why they were killed, who died, who was murdered, who wasn't.
I'll tell you, if the JFK was a conspiracy, I mean the repercussions would shake it even to today. Even though just about everybody involved is dead now.
Allegedly.
Of course, you got.
I keep thinking about the Seinfeld
maybe
spoof
JFK,
of that.
Elvis, and Marilyn Monroe are all immortals, and they've been whisked away to some private island where they can go ahead and play poker together for the rest of their, up to million years of life left. Hey, if we're going to go conspiracy theories, I'm going to jump in whole hog.
Oh, yeah. Well, I like that immortal theory, because if you do that,
There can be only one? Sorry.
Let's see. The New World Order. Like next. Let's see. Denver Airport. George Soros.
Yeah, there's a ton surrounding the Denver Airport. And they're quite entertaining.
There's one in Turkey, and I cannot pronounce this name. I'm going to butcher it. I know I am. Akul. Akul. Apparently, it's some sort of apparently it's some Turkish conspiracy theory that he.
No, I was putting my helmet to the side.
It was what again, John?
Oh, apparently he's using terrorism to promote his government plan or whatever.
And Chris is asking, the old airport in Denver or the new one?
Both.
I believe it's the new one because there's allegedly a bunch of different sub-basements that people aren't allowed to get into. And then you've got the really weird murals that some of them almost look like they support
Masonic and satanic symbols.
And also symbols that make our frenemies that were back in 1939 Germany in a good light.
Yeah. Apparently they got a lot of murals about war.
Yeah.
Okay. Israel is using animals to spy on their neighbors. Apparently they trained sharks to attack Egypt and Hezbollah. They captured spying eagles. I guess they've never heard of satellites.
My favorite conspiracy theory is that Walt Disney's head is being kept down below.
Oh, that one's true.
Disney World or Disneyland.
Disneyland.
Do you know the latest theory behind that?
What?
They made the movie Frozen and named it Frozen, so that if you type in Disney Frozen, it comes up with Elsa and Anna, and you don't get to see, Disney's frozen head. You've not heard this one, Rich?
No, I didn't hear that one.
Okay, that's.
What about if you just type in
I can
Frozen
see
Walt?
Disney doing that.
Oh yeah.
And then they've got all the anti-religion people, and then that's a big one. You know, there's like you go to, it's got all these different like espionage and economics and stuff like that. You go down here to race and religion and ethnicity. That's huge. That thing's got like a dozen.
Yeah, but if you type in Waltsicle, it comes up with Disney's Frozen Head.
Well, you know, supposedly the writers for Futurama got that whole, you know, the head of Richard Nixon and all, you know, Leonard Nimoy and all these people. That all came from the Walt Disney head. Now, I don't remember them ever doing an episode with Walt's head in it, but I used to watch that all the time, but they've done a lot of other ones.
Well, with as litigious as Disney was, well, okay, it is, but was especially during that point of time, they probably avoid Walt just to make sure that they didn't have to send lawyers. I mean, you know, Groen's got a really good law firm, and I'm not saying it for him. But it just wastes money to send lawyers to go to defend something that is pointless. But Disney likes to send lawyers, people, for things that are pointless, waste the resources, so that it just is a war of attrition for them to go, fine, fuck it, I'm going to ignore it. You know, I'm not going to do the Disney stuff anymore.
Well,
That's
we
why
had
they
one of
chase
our
after
creators
preschools that have
suffer that.
Disney stuff on it.
Yeah. Well, also, Groening had such a good law firm that the only way Disney could do anything about it was freaking buy the network that he's on, that owns the property. Yes, Bart Simpson is now a Disney prince, and Maggie is the princess.
That's right, because they that was part of the properties that they got when they
Bought Fox.
acquired a lot of the Fox library. Now, they didn't buy everything the Fox library, but they did buy a lot. But that also means that all the xenomorphs in the alien properties are now Disney princesses as well. They're the daughters of a queen.
Yep.
Speaking of buying libraries, I just heard this today. People are really complaining about the high price, I mean, the really, really high price tickets to go see Bruce Springsteen. And they're blaming it on him because they're saying, why does he need the money? He just sold his library of songs for, I can't remember, it was like 1.6 billion or something. I don't know. One of you can look it up. But
if he sold all his music, doesn't that make him a cover band now?
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's certain provisions in there. It's like when Paul sold it. Michael Jackson bought all the Beatles library for that amount of time.
You got to pay all the roadies. You got to pay all the venues. You got to pay all the people that work at all the venues. You got to, pay the beer vendors. It's, people are always thinking that every single penny for the ticket goes directly to the, the artist, and it doesn't. They only get a small slice of that.
Usually about 30 to 45%.
Is he still traveling with the E Street Band? Because
no, I think most of them are gone now. I don't think Bruce Springsteen would be responsible for paying beer vendors and things like that at each of those places.
when they buy the tickets, they're not buying it directly from Bruce. Bruce only gets a small portion of that. Most of the money is going to the venue, and the venue's going to, everything that goes on at the venue. The people that clean the toilets, the people that, tell you where to park, the people that feel you thinking.
Now, wait a minute. I know for a fact that they do not have people that clean toilets. I've been in a bathroom at a concert venue, and trust me, ain't nobody cleaning them damn toilets.
Yeah. Who's going to clean a urinal trough?
They clean them the day after.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, Rich. It's not the venue that gets it. It's the ticket sales company
that too.
Sells the ticket. They get a cut of each ticket, and then they go around and charge you a service fee to buy the ticket.
And then a service fee because they charged you a service fee.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Half the time you got parking, even if you aren't going to drive.
Yeah,
good old Ticketmaster.
It's Ticketmaster and Live Nation. Live Nation is mainly the promoters now. Yeah, don't get me started on this stuff.
And then you got to pay the people that decided on what font that the announcement's going to be on for this concert on the various web page. The rabbit hole goes down and down and down and down.
And somewhere at the very bottom is an IT guy getting paid to put a picture of the ticket on the damn website.
Very little. Because, what good are IT people? They're pretty pointless.
Well, up until the recent few years, you did not have a lot of the artists getting paid for selling CDs and all that stuff because everybody was just grabbing it online and
they didn't even cut their own merchandising,
downloading stuff. But now, within the last few years, because vinyl is a big thing again, all these new records coming out and all the re-releases of everything. Well, like the shirt I got on here, which I mean, you can see it too much. This is actually, and of course I got this other shirt covering up 2 of the 4 Beatles. This is actually a t-shirt that came in with the anniversary edition of 50th anniversary edition of Let It Be album.
Is that the rooftop?
I'm sorry?
Picture, is that the rooftop? They're on the rooftop?
Yeah. But the actual Let It Be album, which they took from several, like the Get Back that's on Disney Plus. One of the great things that Peter Jackson did, or whoever in there, went through all the footage that they were showing you and performing this song and that song, and of course you heard them play Get Back and Long and Winding Road and several other ones 15 or 20 times. They would flash on screen, this is the version that was used, or this is the recording that was used for the Let It Be album. So they took several different ones from there. But anyway, it came, you had, it was a big box set, and it was the one with the t-shirt was exclusive to Target.
Okay.
I just realized completionists have to be really pissed off because it means you're going to have to go out and buy the White Album all over again.
Yeah. I'm glad you said
Well,
that.
I've been
I've
buying
been thinking it ever
the
since.
originals.
But the
now, like,
completionists are going to want every single version of it that exists. Even that really rare 1979 Tokyo print that there's only 2 of in the world and it's going to cost them $750,000 just to sniff the album, let alone bid on it.
I just bought a 1979 edition of Let It Be. The original one that came out in '68 by Apple had a gatefold cover that opened up, and it showed all the collage of the pictures of it. Capitol, when they put out the reissues in the 70s, 79, they had it on the purple Capitol label, which they had all the stuff for anything that Capitol ever did. That for the late 70s was on a purple label, mid 70s was on an orange one. But anyway, they did not have a gatefold album, but when you pulled your album out, the inner sleeve that the actual 33 and the third album fit in had the same graphics on both sides of that. And then plus it came with a great big Let It Be poster, which was the front cover of the Let It Be album of the 4 photos, and it said the Beatles across the top and Let It Be across the bottom. And I picked that up a week ago last night at the auction. Paid a little bit more than what I wanted to, but it's in very, very good shape, and I'll probably hang on to it for a while. I don't, I like the original 68 version the best, and that, but on Apple, but like the 50th anniversary version, Capitol isn't doing any of that. This is all coming out on Apple label again, which is really cool, and that's going to snag a lot of people, whether they didn't have a chance to get them originally. Say if Carrie wanted to go out, yeah, I would love to get Let It Be or the White Album or whatever, and he can get the new version, but on the Apple label, and maybe get some little goodies that are stuffed in the album, like the T-shirt that I have on or what have you, posters or whatever. But you're going to get people like me or Dan, for say, that been Beatle collectors and fans for longer than we care to admit, to say, oh, that would really be neat to have it, but then you got to figure out, okay, well, all right, do I want to spend $30 on something like, But the Eagles all this year they re-released almost every album of theirs, brand new vinyl, and you can find that at Walmart or Target or wherever, Barnes and Noble.
You heard about the Texas woman that's dying from cancer? And she handed out these cards to everybody, all her friends and stuff, that has a Ouija board built into it. And it says, so you can talk to me after I'm gone. And I'm like, I like that.
I love the picture that Keisha Aka posted about the Ouija board coffee table. That was good.
Points for originality on that kind of thing, but with the history I've had with certain things, I'm a very much big proponent of Ouija boards. Burn them with fire.
Yes.
There's actually a version that come out prior to the one that we know.
Joe has to say something.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my alarm to go off, so it doesn't interrupt.
Oh yeah, it's about that time.
Yeah, we've got a promotional we've got to cover in just a second. Actually,
pardon him while he whips this out.
Come on.
He's older. It takes longer.
Alexa, cancel timer.
There are no timers set.
Alexa, cancel alarm.
12 a.m. alarm canceled.
Thank you. Okay. All right, I'm going to pull everybody down real quick for this so I can get the picture up. Okay, get the picture up. Where'd the picture? There's the picture. Okay, I'm going to pull me off of that so we can do this. All right, let me get this scrolling across the bottom. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Legendary John Vaught and Jonathan Rhys Meyers, Dracula from the Dracula TV series, starring the nail-bitingly suspenseful horror thriller called Dangerous Games: The Legacy Murder, now streaming on Redbox On Demand. It's about a family reunion at a remote mansion that takes a lethal turn when they're trapped inside and forced to play a deadly survival game where only one will make it out alive. While playing is not an option, where not playing is not an option, it's sort of a combination of Saw mixed with a serious game of Clue with some innovative twist. We will be linking the trailer on our Facebook page as you're watching us on, and in the chat now with the live stream that you're viewing. You can stream Dangerous Game instantly on Redbox On Demand today, rated R, from Paramount Pictures. And
Here I am. Hey, everybody. I'm over here behind the movie ad. Hey.
Rated R for Richard.
Parental discretion is advised.
okay. Please tell me that y'all heard what I said.
What?
What?
When are you going to start the commercial?
Don't do that shit.
We've been waiting for 2 minutes. Come on, man.
There's audio to go with that? I thought it was just a picture.
Guys, please don't.
Maybe you.
My parents name me Dick. I get to live up to it.
Yeah.
Maybe you should run it again and see if the sound comes out right this time.
Should I sponsor tonight?
No, seriously, guys, did that not read?
What? No,
No, seriously, it went through.
Okay, good.
Good.
Now for the added bonus for everybody that's not part of the ad read. What are you doing? Stop that. Throw that up here. Now as an added bonus, 4 people at HallowCon this year will receive a special code to watch the video for free.
Wow.
It'll be given out at random by badge. We're going to use, one of those random number generators to pull up badges. Pull up a number, and that badge number will call it out. And if they're not present, we pass it on to the next person. Yeah, that's all. Okay. Thank you, Chris, that it played. All right. And I'm going to let that scroll run across the bottom for the rest of the thing. And, like I said, we're going to post it up on all our pages. There is a YouTube link.
I thought more Russian bots were coming on there all of a sudden.
Might be. We don't know where Joe's from.
Take them down quick, John.
Report Joe is a Russian bot.
Oh, everybody's getting quiet.
Yeah, I just put something in the private chat.
Okay. We get quiet. I tell an uncle joke.
Ooh boy, here we go.
Now read the East Street fan comment out loud, okay? Chris says he's still mad that he didn't insist that they talk about Bruce Springsteen. Didn't insist that the East Street band being included when he first was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When they finally did get inducted, Clarence Clemens was dead. He made a huge contribution to their music. Absolutely. And for a long time, the band that did all the music for Eddie and the Cruisers, the John Cafferty band, was confused for Bruce Springsteen.
They do sing a lot alike.
Yeah.
Now, the redheaded female singer, didn't she pass away too? Can't remember her name. I was thinking Wendy something.
You gotta ask Chris on that. I don't know. Hey, of course, if Dan was here, he would be firing off the answers. Oh.
I am not the biggest fan of Bruce. I do like some of his songs. My friend Jim Toronto, that we call him Elton Jim because he's like the biggest Elton John fan. He's been to over 200 Elton John concerts since 1976, and Elton John has actually called him out by name and saying thank you and this dedicating a song to him and all this. But he's also a big Bruce Springsteen fan. Now, I can see the Elton John thing. I've always been a big Elton John fan, and I've had the majority of his albums. But Bruce, I think a lot of the earlier stuff I like better than some of the later and that. But you know, there's just, and I know it's not for everybody. You know.
And Chris says Patty was his wife, and she is still around.
Okay, Patty. Okay, that's not who I'm thinking in there. But
oh wow! Let me check to see who all's here. Kerry, is that you on Twitch?
Yeah, I'm on Twitch.
Okay. All right. I just see we got somebody viewing from Twitch. So
he's been twitching all night.
Darn teenagers, they're twitching.
Now,
in Bedrock, Twitch.
Kerry, you're the Twitch expert here. How long does the episode stay on Twitch that we run?
That would depend on if you have Twitch Prime or not. But usually if you don't have Twitch Prime, it stays up on there for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And if you're on Twitch Prime, I think it stays up for about a month.
Okay. Twitch Prime. Now, can I add my Amazon Prime account to get Twitch Prime?
I would think so, yeah. I think you can link your Twitch Prime with your Amazon Prime.
Okay. Will it cost me anymore? That's the thing.
I don't think it would cost you anything if you do link your Amazon Prime to your Twitch. And the best part about it is I think you would be able to sub to one channel a month for free.
With Amazon Prime, you get one free sub a month on Twitch. And you can change that from month to month.
Okay. Now, what does sub mean? Subscribe to another channel, or?
Yes.
So the channels that charge for subscription for you to get premium content or you get to see their stuff next day. Where people who don't sub have to wait a week or what have you, stuff like that. So yeah, you can get those from one channel without subscribing directly to that channel. So basically, you get a channel for a month, and and each month you get to go ahead and say, yeah, I'll keep it on this channel. I'm kind of bored of this content. Let's try this new person over here. So it's a great way to try before you buy.
Okay. Of course, if I'm going to get a new account of anything, I'm getting Apple Plus because I want to see how For All Mankind has turned out so far. John,
I've not been keeping up with it, but apparently they're going to Mars.
The power of Christ compels you.
And apparently they're going to Mars, and North Korea sent a probe there. It was supposed to be an unmanned probe. So they went out to see what had happened to it. Guess what? Somebody popped out of it with a pistol.
okay. The last I saw was the season finale where you saw Boots step out on Mars, and that was it. So I get you.
Guys, I think I'm going to have to tap out. My sinuses are getting bad again, and I'm sorry, but I didn't think I was going to last the whole show tonight. But keep me updated.
That's the name, and the wash your troubles down there.
I got Flonase, and that doesn't do diddly. It's set loose further, but so
nasal irrigation helps me a lot for mine.
Yeah, no show for Thursday, and then you're gonna see about Saturday.
A live show with people popping in and out. Don't know how long it's gonna run. We're gonna try it.
Yeah.
And if my laptop can run it.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Depends on all the Wi-Fi there and everything. So okay, good. Well, I'm sure I'll be keeping watch on the stupid o'clock chat thing there to see what's going on. But Carrie, Joe Dog, John, Rich, Chris, John Paul, George, Ringo, and Curly, everybody out there, you guys have a very good evening, and via Candias. We'll see you later.
Take care.
Good night, man. Feel better.
Good night, Bill. And Rich, by you doing that reminded me, one of the actors in that movie that I just plugged played Curly on the Three Stooges movie.
Oh.
And now get this, here's the cool thing. His IMDb announces unnamed Three Stooges sequel.
Oh boy.
In production right now.
That is cool. I actually have an IMDb entry.
Oh, really?
A friend of mine was in a movie that friends in our local region were producing, and they needed random voices for certain things. So I have a voice credit for. It's called Victims of Circumstance.
That's cool.
Now I just need to make sure that I can find someone who's making a movie so that I can get a credit of either like man number 2 in background, or homeless guy with burrito, something like that. I want just completely inane, just background credit. and I can die happy.
I know what credit I want. My IMDb credit to say asshole wearing hat. Oh,
That would be
that
perfect.
reminds me of a story that somebody was telling me how they became a walker on The Walking Dead. They have in Atlanta what was called zombie school. To anybody can join zombie school, and depending on how good you are, means if you actually make it on the show. And there's this scene. They do this scene to where the zombies are breaking through a door, and as they're breaking through the door, the director says, "Okay, a little more of this," and the guy turns around, staying in zombie, turns his head, and the guy hollers at him, and he just starts walking towards him, grabs him, and bites him. He got the job.
Ability to stay in character. And yeah, it's freaky how many groups throughout the nation do that weird sort of stuff and will do various things. Like a bunch of them showed up on Impractical Jokers to scare the hell out of Sal for one of his punishments.
Yep. I almost went to jail for zombies. I tried to hold a world's record zombie walk in Chattanooga and was shut down by the police department.
Wow.
I mean, so much as the point to, if I showed up at the location, I was going to, and was not sent an email or whatever. My phone rang that said Chattanooga Department. And the guy asked me what it was all about and all that. And he said, "If you do it, you're going to jail. Shut it down." Yes, sir.
Now, I know they generally don't have to give reasoning behind it, but did they state why in any way, shape, and or form?
It would give Chattanooga a bad name.
No. Can you get too much worse than Chattanooga? Oh, wrong type of bad name.
Technically, Chattanooga was mentioned in the Walking Dead comic books.
Yeah.
Because where the original story took place was North Georgia. When the what's his name? Rick?
Yeah.
Rick Grimes was a deputy with one of the northern counties.
Yeah, Chris goes, "What a load of horse shit." Actually, two guys showed up down there, and they got a ride downtown, or out to Amnicola Highway. So,
The
yeah.
town on a rail, huh?
Yeah. And then another guy showed up down there with a hearse. He was just sitting on the hood of his car. They pulled up and says, "What are you doing here?" He says, "I'm waiting for the mayhem. You need to move along." He goes, "No, I'm waiting to watch you haul people to jail. I'm here for the show."
If you know anything about Chattanooga area, we're a notch in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's probably a bunch of
Yeah.
Neo-Nazi Christians.
Well, it was Friends of the Festival was the one that, you know, shut it down. Says no, because of me, because of
Neo-Nazi Christians. Yeah.
because of me. Now, to host any type of event like that, you have to go through city council approval. You have to have permits, and you have to put up like a bond. Before that,
That's not terribly unusual.
no, there was no rules for that because I looked into it. They created all those rules after I started this. And then what really pissed me off was 3 days after everything was shut down, I was contacted by Friends of the Festival and goes, you know, that's a great idea. Why don't we do it in October? We'll help you set it up. Rich, can you imagine what I said? It rhymes with duck and a female sheep.
Yeah.
Starts with an F, ends in
in
UCK, and it's not fire truck.
Yeah.
In Chattanooga's government, if you don't pay the right people the right amount of money, you're not getting anything done, and they'll have the police throw you in jail. That's just the way Chattanooga has always worked. It's like, and
Which is why exactly, as soon as you said that, I'm like, it's because they need their part of the grift.
and if you, I don't know, have we got time to talk about it? Maybe, I guess we could talk about it. Atlanta has a water shortage because they've grown so big, they're having trouble getting water. So they want to run a pipeline up to North Georgia, right across the border into the Tennessee River, and purchase water out of the Tennessee River, which is the closest major water source for them. Makes perfect sense. Now, Chattanooga, interesting enough, our water company is privately owned. It is not government owned. And they do a pretty good job. Have done for, better part of a century.
Now the thing is, Brian K. Morris used to work for that company, private company. So, but yeah, I know the story you're talking about.
Every so often, the Chattanooga city government tries to legally maneuver themselves into a position to buy out the water company and make it government owned and operated, right? Because they need to have control over it for the citizens of Chattanooga.
They need their part of the grift.
They're trying to buy it out so they can basically sell it to Atlanta. Okay. And the big thing, and it's the one thing you'll always hear, and it drives me nuts, they want to put a high-speed rail between Chattanooga and Atlanta.
Between the airports.
Yeah, between the airports. And the idea is turn it into, add to the transportation hub and get people. Everything in the South goes through Atlanta. If you die in Chattanooga, you have to go through Atlanta first to get to heaven. That's just the way our air traffic's routed around here.
Yeah.
So they want to put this high-speed rail in to get people down to Atlanta easier without having to adding to Atlanta's air traffic. Because that's the biggest problem in Atlanta is all these little regional. Everything goes to Atlanta to get international out of the country. and got all these little regional airplanes going in, and it's just crowded airspace. And if you could run high-speed rail out of Chattanooga, you could take a lot of that aircraft out of Atlanta. And it would be great for Chattanooga because you'd run all the little regionals into Chattanooga and then put everybody on the train to Atlanta.
And they said, like, it would take, what, 45 minutes from airport to airport, when it's usually a 2 hour and 30-minute drive.
And you wouldn't have to go on to 285.
Yeah.
You could be on the high-speed train passing 285 traffic at 100-something miles an hour going, hey, all you bastards in traffic. We hated you so much we built a high-speed rail. Okay.
Now, about the Atlanta water, every now and then there's a dispute on the Tennessee-Georgia borderline. And if they can get the dispute, if Georgia could ever win the dispute, the Tennessee River would dip into a corner of Georgia. And that's why they're fighting for this. And TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority for the Tennessee River, told Tennessee, let them have it. They can't drop out of this river without our permission.
And what's really bad, if they really wanted to do it, there is a piece of property right in the corner of northwest Georgia that is literally like 150 yards from the Tennessee River. If they really wanted to screw with Tennessee, they could build a reservoir right there and just run a pipe straight down. And the river would go straight into Georgia whether they wanted it to or not.
That's where TVA says they can't take a drop without our permission. Now, also on that property, there's also a little marker that is the state line of Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. You could actually sit in 3 states at the same time.
Yep. It's
All right,
strange enough. This dispute is so big, it's actually on Wikipedia. Tennessee, Georgia water dispute.
Yeah.
With maps and pictures with arrows and numbers on the back of each one.
That's a lot of tongue twister words for me, Chris. I'm just going to put it up there so people can read it.
The Chattahoochee River is actually the closest water source for Atlanta. The only problem is they've drained it dry.
Yeah.
Literally, on several occasions. They found cities in the bottom of the river. That's how dry it's gotten.
Yeah.
They found a race car track in the bottom of the river. Kid you not. There are pictures of it.
But also on that border dispute, there's a little city called Rossville just south of us.
Nobody important lives there.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris, we posted it up there, but that's too many words for me to say. I get tongue-tied. I put it up there for everybody to read. But the city of Rossville, the problem is there are 3 projects in Chattanooga that are pretty rough projects. If Georgia wins the thing, these 3 projects would fall into Rossville and become their problem. Rossville's going No, we'll pass. Rossville's actually fighting the dispute for Tennessee. And this is what Chris posted up about why they're draining the water. It's because dumbasses think they need to water their lawn every day
Probably.
and wash the cars and use fresh water in Thunder River or whatever it's called down there every day.
It's Whitewater's fault.
Yeah. Oh. I think Rich is pulling up the dispute.
I'm getting a bunch of stuff. Putting the thing up there for the racetrack, the bottom of Chattahoochee, the dispute, a bunch of other things. That's one of the things I really enjoy about this show is I love learning about really weird shit, and you guys have a wonderful ability just to pull out just some of the weirdest stuff.
Well, it's local. It's local.
I'm going to fall down the rabbit. Well, every place has that level of just really weird stuff. There's plenty up here in Northwest Indiana. There's probably a bunch of stuff. Actually, there's a bunch of stuff around Danville and stuff like that. But it's just you don't get exposed to it because you get blinded by the stuff that's in your region, and you forget other regions even exist.
Yeah. Which, I mean, thank you for that compliment, Rich, because that's what we're here for fun and all that, but if you ain't careful, we'll teach you something.
It's always fun, and even before when I was just a lurker in the comments, the number of things that get added to my need to look shit up later, folder and for
it's
my
got
browser.
pretty thick. So it's got pretty thick since you started hanging out with us.
Well, it's always been pretty thick because I just find weird shit. But you guys have done a very good job of adding to it. There's no risk of it running dry anytime soon. No pun intended, since we're talking about rivers and rivers running dry.
By the way, there was a town called Oscarville in Lake Lanier. I think that may be the one. Yeah, I think that's the one.
Lake Lanier and Lake Altoona.
And then the speedway was called Looper Speedway. Racetrack under Lake Lanier. You can look that up. Lake Lanier was formed when they dammed up everything. And it was Oscarville was a black community. And when they decided to dam up the river, it flooded that black community out.
Oh, and there's also you can look up Hales Bar Dam.
Well, that's an interesting one.
Oh, Rich, you talk about
It was a damn shame.
Yeah, exactly. It was the perfect place on the Tennessee River to build the first hydroelectric, flood control, and navigational dam. It was the worst. Geographically, it was the best place.
Logically, it was the worst place because it was on a fault line.
It was on a fault line. It was also what they call karst land. The more water leaked through the dam than it held back. They were constantly plugging leaks the dam.
They spent more money plugging leaks on that thing than they did building it. And eventually, did the company that originally built it, they sold it out to somebody,
No,
And
they didn't sell it out. Uh, TVA, when TVA was created, they had to surrender the dam to TVA.
and TVA blew it up.
TVA did their
For two
dangest.
decades.
What?
TVA worked for 2 decades trying to fix the leakage problem that had plagued the Hills Bar since its construction. But after continuing leakage and determining that expanding the dam's navigation block would be too expensive, TVA decided to replace the dam. It built Nickajack.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is the navigation lock is still there. It don't do nothing, but it's still there. And the powerhouse
It's still there.
is still there, but ain't nothing in it but concrete.
And supposedly the powerhouse is haunted.
Looks like
Not
it, yeah.
Not that I've ever done any paranormal investigations there.
No.
Let's just say there is some highly unexplained things that I will verify for you.
There's this big long hallway that runs to the powerhouse, and Joe was in there looking for ghosts, and he farted. That was like 17 years ago, and it's still reverberating back and forth to the powerhouse hallway.
No, but I will tell you, Rich, if you follow any of the paranormal shows, you've heard of EVPs and, the electronic voice phenomenon and the little EMF detectors. I can't find the video now, but I had the video. The people at Hales Bar Dam actually has the video and had it on their website for a long time, but they pulled it down now.
There was somebody out there just recently doing a Halloween special out there with TV3.
Yeah.
That was some guy was doing a tour with one of the TV3 reporters. The TV3 reporter, little guy wouldn't go in.
Yeah.
it stood outside and did his report.
Yeah. Well, there's a clip of the video there's two clips. We had a camera set on the EMF detector sitting on the floor and another camera from a different angle. I was a firm believer in multi-camera angles. And we were asking questions. You could hear on both cameras, you could sync them up and, do the split screen. But we would ask questions and the EMF detector would change. We'd say, get closer, make the numbers go up for yes, back away if it's no. And they were responding yes and no answers. A solid concrete floor. The EMF, then we got into our EVP session, and we got these little kids going, shh, they're here, be quiet. Then one of the guys, you could see his hair actually stand up in the video and get pulled. And you can see him jump and slap his head and all that. He goes, something just pulled my hair. So, we investigate, ask a few more questions. And then we get an EVP of, ooh, we can have fun with this. Then the last EVP from that section is, oh no, they're leaving as we were leaving. What?
Definitely sounds like a place I'd like to get in trouble in.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember I think it was Ghost Adventures, the ones that would go in and threaten the ghost?
Yeah.
It's all dead now.
Zach, the guy from that, bought a house not just a couple towns over, the Gary Hell House. Um, but yeah, it's I really wanted to reach through the TV and slap those people.
Yeah. If you can find it, find their Hales Bar experiment. Uh, as they were getting set up, a tornado hit the dam.
Hmm.
Which is actually a good place to be.
It actually absolutely wiped out docks and their floating cabins. And
I threw that up.
oh, okay. Um, where'd you go? Quit that. Quit that. Comments. I need comments. Okay. Um, at the end, one of them was doing something, and all of a sudden you saw him just fly backwards out of a chair, and then they cut it. Wow.
Oop.
Sorry about that. My browser restarted.
Okay.
Spooky shit.
The video cut. I talked to some of the people from Hale's Bar. They said that guy was picked up by the throat and thrown against a wall. Yeah. I don't ever want to go back in that place.
Liar.
No, seriously, I'm done. I mean, while we were doing our investigation there, we were on this balcony that overlooked the generator room. What used to be the generator room, it's now boat storage. There was Evie, Evelyn, friend, friend of mine. You probably know who Evelyn is, John. Evie, Dallas, was the girlfriend of a security director for several conventions. And then our psychic, uh, Steve and Drew, they were standing in front of me, and we're sitting there and talk, overlooking, and I hear over in this ear, "Hey." There was nobody standing behind me.
At least
Needless
not that
to
you
say,
can perceive.
yeah. Needless to say, I turned and did my best Bruce Lee strike and punch into nothing. Almost knocked those two off the balcony. They're going, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And I'm going, "Somebody just said, 'Hey,' in my ear, in a whisper." They said, "Okay, we're out of here." So we get down. The other part of the crew gets up to us. All of a sudden, I start choking. As in, something's got me around the throat, choking me. And they drag me out. And it's like, okay, that was weird. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons I never want to go back in there again. Oh, and by the way, Rich, when we did all these experiments and investigations, that was a year and a half before ghost hunters and ghost adventurers ever got there. I was the first person to find out you don't want to monkey around in this place. And it wasn't no monkey loving snakes on a monkey lover plane.
Sounds like a place you don't even need to F around before you find out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, John, do you know
Yeah.
that? And Kerry, you know it too. Do you know that building beside the um, Findlay Stadium,
The old power station.
the old
I
power
think
station?
so.
That was the other half. That was the distribution center for the electricity from that dam.
Whoa.
It was a big transformer, basically.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Chattanooga had electricity before TVA. And Chris is right. That person does not like to be called Dallas. And doesn't be called Evie. She wants to be called Evelyn. Oh, and there's uh, John. There are new pictures from Deep South Con posted. Do you have Fritz on your friends list?
who?
Fritz Ling.
Yeah.
He just posted 27 new photos. Of course, as I'm flipping through these pictures, I have noticed something about the place or about the attendees. I just want to make sure. Still going through all of them. So far, yeah. John, if Kerry was at Deep South Con right now, he'd be the youngest person there.
Whoa.
And you're in your 30s, right?
Just hit 30, actually.
You're in your 30, yeah.
Kind of wishing I had my 20s back, to be honest with you.
Shut up, kid. Oh. Oh. You know how everybody says, oh, I wish I had that energy of a 2-year-old? No, you don't. Because if you had the energy of that 2-year-old, your heart would explode. They call that cocaine.
Mm.
Rich knows I'm right. So does John.
Pretty sure that's why we all drink the caffeine. We all want that energy back.
Yeah, I don't want the energy of a 2-year-old. I would like 1/10 of the energy of a 2-year-old, and I would like the joints of probably damn near any 20-year-old other than me when I was 20, because my joints were still screwed up back then.
Oh, yeah, that's when my issue started. I screwed up my knee graduation night of high school. When, just to tell you the type of guy I was, when on graduation night, instead of, going out and doing the graduation parties, me and my friends went fishing.
Okay.
And I stepped in the gopher hole beside the pond. All the way to the knee and fell over.
I can feel that.
Yeah, talking about it, I can too. It didn't break anything, but it was the beginning of the downhill slide.
Something had to tear at least.
It nothing tore. I mean, I actually went to the knee specialist and all that. Nothing tore, but everything was hyperextended. Meaning, you should have just tore it so we could fix it.
You wore out
Yep.
the elastic bands, so you kind of have to wait until nature takes its course, which is going to take a lot longer than if we could do it surgically.
Yeah. You stretch the rubber band almost to the point of breaking, but now the rubber band don't go all the way back. And that was before they sent you to therapy for everything. At work, I slammed, of course, it was my own stupidity. I slammed my hand in the door of the truck at work. It was one of those I was climbing in and I reached and pulled the door closed. And my hand stuck in the door. I'm sitting there going, yep, I just did that. And the guy that was riding with me, he goes, what did you do? And I said, just had the biggest lapse of stupidity in my life. He goes, what's wrong? I said, well, for one, my hand is stuck in the door. Are you all right? I'm going, I don't know. I haven't opened the door yet. And just as soon as I popped that door and opened, these three fingers turned into sausages. So, we go right up. We have to, I call and say, yeah, boss, I just was stupid and slammed my hand in the door. Or, do you think you can finish the day? I said, I was 3 sausages on the end of my hand. He goes, all right, head down to the clinic. Would you believe I spent 2 weeks in therapy for slamming my fingers in the door, doing this? I'm going, give it a few days, let the swelling go down. Of course, they did x-rays and, making sure nothing was broke. And then, to beat all, when everything was healed up and better, they sent me this letter going, your injury case was closed. We don't feel you need any extra compensation since you admit it was your own fault. Otherwise, they'd have given me $1,500. Two weeks later, they realized my back's never going to heal, so they sent me home. Paid me $49,000.
So, what line of work did you used to be in?
I worked for the city of Chattanooga in the brush department. You've seen the brush trucks that ride around. That's got the crane in the back of it that reaches around and picks the crap up, puts it in the back. That's what I was doing. But I hurt my back bending over to pick up a Coke bottle out of a pile of brush.
Isn't that always the case? It's everyone else, gets these injuries doing really dramatic, really cool, really action-oriented things, and it's all of a sudden, most of my injuries are my knees went out while I was walking down the hall. My feet were pointed towards the top of my head, my knees were pointed forward, my ass, back, and head were touching the floor, So the kind of stretches that football players and gymnasts and dancers do, that 6'4", 420-odd-pound people aren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
Scared the hell out of my youngest. This is the first time she's ever, have ever seen me scream in pain.
Yeah, well, what was so funny is my wife and daughter thought I was just milking it until my daughter went to the back specialist after my MRI, and she's sitting there and he's showing everything, and she just reached over, put her hand on my leg, and started patting. Oh, Daddy, I'm sorry. Daddy, I'm sorry. I said, what? She goes, I didn't realize you were really hurting that bad. Trust me, when I tell you I'm hurt, I'm hurt. Yeah. No, since Dan ain't here, we're going to go a little longer, if y'all want.
Oh my!
Yay.
I'm good.
Extra innings. And then the room starts to clear out.
We'll do it in the spirit of Dan.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, TVA's. I just saw the link. So TVA actually has on their webpage about the hauntings.
Yep.
Cool. Of course, Rich, we are also just an hour from the one location that is recognized by the United States government as haunted.
Wow.
The Bell Witch Cave. I'm going to have to get that guy on one night. The guy named Pat Fitzhugh, who is the Bell Witch historian. Used to when I was doing my podcast on blog. You've heard of Blog Talk Radio, right, Rich?
Yes.
I had a show, actually, Stupid O'Clock on Blog Talk Radio. We had him on there one time. It was part of the paranormal team that I had. And Stupid O'Clock was our after-hours show. We had him on there one time. We had, people that could call in and all that. I wish we could do that with this show because it would be fun. But Chris asked, "Are we ever going to get Robbie Reiser on here?" I think we're going to have Uncle Carl intervene to get Robbie on here because I've sent him invites. Pat Fitzhugh on there, and they send us this list of these are the questions you have to ask. We don't deviate from these questions. Please keep the talks to this, that, it's basically the script of dealing with a celebrity. And I said, well, we got, some time left, Pat. Would you like to open up the phone lines, to let some of our listeners ask you some questions? He goes, sure, why not? And some guy called in and asked, he goes, there's stories about the Reelfoot Lake being haunted and all that. Have you heard anything about that? And he said, the only thing I can tell you that's scary on Reelfoot Lake is my ex-wife. That broke the floodgates open. Before we knew what was going on, this guy went from the celebrity who only talked about the Bell Witch Cave to fishing tips about Real Foot Lake. And I don't know if you've ever tuned in when we had special guests in for the show.
I don't think I've been watching you guys that long.
That long?
I just started around June.
Okay. When we would have special guests in, it's back during the pandemic, and we were anybody would jump, celebrities would jump on. I have 3 questions I ask them. People coming in, but I ask them all 3 questions at the same time, and let them choose how they say it. The questions are: who are you? What do you do? And how the hell did you get roped into this show? And it goes from there. John, I sort of miss those shows, don't you?
Aww. Well, all you
Looks
gotta
like
do
you guys are only
all you gotta do is try and find a guest or two.
8 hours and 38 minutes away.
What?
I just looked up the distance between my town and Chattanooga. The drive time. You guys are about 8 hours and 38 minutes south. Damn, you're dead south.
And you're in Indiana, right?
Yep.
So, 75 goes up through Ohio, right?
Not familiar with 75, so I couldn't tell you.
So you're probably 24, right? 24 is your closest freeway south?
65.
65, okay. So you would pretty much take 65 south to Nashville to 24 to Chattanooga.
Yeah, that's what it's showing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you would have to deal with Monteagle. And I love when Flatlanders get the Chattanooga side of Monteagle.
Because Monteagle will let you know you need new brake pads.
Yep.
I don't know if I drove up that particular amount, but there was definitely a couple on the way to go see my in-laws down in Florida that definitely made me, realize there's no way in hell I could walk up that incline. Way steeper than I could do.
Yeah. Here's a hint that tells you how bad Monteagle is. That the trucks are required by law to pull into this place and stop.
Just to make sure the brakes work.
Yeah. You have to come to a complete stop because there's this traffic light there. And until you come to a complete stop, the light doesn't change to green. You have to come to a complete stop and wait for that light to change to green before you can proceed down the mountain.
Yeah, the liquid in our water bottles was at an angle like this, and I'm like, okay. That tells me I want to make sure I do not drive this in the ice and snow.
Yeah, that's the fun time to go down here.
There's a running gag here in Chattanooga that every time there's going to be ice or snow in the area, they always send the new reporter from all the local TV stations up to Monteagle Mountain to do the report, to do the remote broadcast.
Oh yeah, and many times it don't snow.
And then other times they do, and it's a running joke. There's a Waffle House at the top of Mont Eagle and a hotel right next to it. And they always do the report from the parking lot of the Waffle House
On Mont Eagle Valley.
with all the truck, because it's a good vantage point for all the trucks on the freeway as they go by.
Yeah, it's the perfect little camera shot. It's a great beauty.
And there's plenty of light, so it's
Yeah. And actually, I've heard stories that many times the reporters from the local news stations are so close to each other they can hear each other talking.
yeah. They like shut up and listen to the other guy's report.
Yeah. And make faces. And sometimes, if it snows, there's a snowball fight between the TV stations.
That sounds like a blast.
And also, there was one year we used to have a morning guy named Jed Mescon. Jed was a clown. Jed also at 5:30 in the morning was the chipper squirrel turning down the next cup of coffee. So Jed was on one at 100 all the time. They sent him up there for the snow because Jed was the new guy in town at the time. They sent him up there to do the report in the snow report. Needless to say, it didn't snow. But they went to Jed. Jed's going, it's wonderful up here. Look at all this. And he goes, you can even do snow angels. Flopped down on the dry asphalt and started doing snow angels. Needless to say, Jed never went up for the snow reports again. John's got.
There we go. There's the Waffle House parking lot. There's the freeway.
Yeah.
Super 8 by Wyndham. Oh, wait, where's that little... You were just talking about that brake station.
Right there. No, keep going.
Farther.
One more exit.
There it is.
Yeah, there's the brake station. You have to pull in there and stop. Of course, a lot of the drivers will stop right there at about 1 o'clock in the morning and call it a night.
Yeah, that's... I remember where the traffic light's up here.
No, right there.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
traffic.
Yeah, you have to come to a complete stop at that light. All right, guys, I'll be right back. I got to run down the hall. We got to talking about Waffle House, and I got to thinking about coffee, and I got to thinking about all that coffee I drank. I'll be right back.
It's no wonder why we're going into extra innings.
Yeah. Okay, you
All
see
that,
this?
all the coffee that Joe drank.
Wait, oh, okay, yeah, it's still there. Okay. That gravel area you see right there is a cliff going down the side of the mountain. Of course, here's the freeway coming down here. This is the runaway truck ramp. Once you hit this, it's like 3 feet of pea gravel going uphill, up the mountain. And if you look close here, you can see how far the trucks got. And then the tow truck comes over, pulls them off the ramp over here, and then they back down here. And as you can see, it gets used a bit. Go back up the mountain a bit here. Oh, looks like they got customers. Hang on a second. Nope, they're repairing it. Never mind. Ooh, that truck didn't do so good.
That looks like an ouchie.
Just a wee bit. Okay, drywall. Oh, yeah, it looks like, what is that, drywall or cardboard? Oh, well, he's having a bad day. Boy, I tell you what, that Google driver went by at just the right time of day.
Yeah.
Clean up aisle one. Yeah, there's 3 of them, if I remember correctly. Runaway truck ramps. There's 1 on the Nashville side and 2 on the Chattanooga side, if I remember correctly.
Do what, John?
Aren't there 3 runaway truck ramps on Mount Eagle?
Yeah, all on the Chattanooga side. There's none on the. You don't need a runaway ramp going uphill.
No, I'm on the Nashville side. There's 1.
No, there is not one on the Nashville side.
You sure?
Yeah, the Nashville side's fairly. Well, fairly flat compared to the Chattanooga side.
Except for the side of the mountain that keeps falling onto the freeway.
Yeah, that's the uphill side. The Chattanooga uphill side.
They had some boulders fall out on the Nashville side, going uphill toward Chattanooga, fall out into the road, as big as houses. And just like the whole mountain just decided, this whole cliff face said, you know what, we're gonna go lay on the road for a few minutes.
There's they weren't boulders, they were chunk of mountain. And Chris said, not as steep on the Nashville side. Oh, and John, as I was headed out to go down the hall, I was just reminded of something.
Uh-oh.
I have to convert my body clock to convention time.
Oh no. What does that entail?
What does that entail? That means getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and going to bed at 3. So I can wake up at 7.
Oh, all the rest areas are on the Nashville side. That's what it is. It's not a runaway truck ramp. They've got rest areas over there.
Yeah, that's the rest area. Yeah. And trust me, coming back from outside con, that rest area is a blessing. Especially with this old man bladder that I've got.
Oh, you can't. It's all overgrown now.
What's overgrown?
The part where the rocks fell out in the freeway.
Yeah.
They fenced it in and planted trees.
Yeah. Chris loves that I can wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning now. That means that's when Chris gets to go to bed. And Chris gets to go to bed. I get to deal with opening the dealer's room. See, Rich, that's parts of convention you never think about.
How many people do you got for the dealer's room this year?
Dealer's room is sold out.
Oh, nice.
Of course, we had 2 people, or one person pull out and another one didn't, reneged on paying for their space. So I did their booth and extended happy alpacas booth. So they got the prime real estate.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't wait for next year to be able to come down and check it out.
Oh, Rich, we'll make sure you're on first floor, on the side, the first floor side without steps. See, this place
Well,
was big.
by then, you know, I live in a second floor walk up right now, so by then, everything might be strengthened so that I might be good.
Okay. Remember that, Chris. Chris is our room assigner. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Our hotel was built in 1968. So there's no ADA requirements.
Ooh.
And there's one reason they haven't done any major remodel on the place. Yeah, Chris says, and among all the other stuff, talking about his room assignment. I'll tell you, Chris does more than 50% of the on-site prep work for HallowCon. Chris is the man. Of course, sadly, what was the message I sent you Sunday night, John?
Nobody knows.
Yo, Captain. I sent John a text on Chris's phone at about 9:30 Sunday night. I don't remember sending it, but I sent it. It looked good anyway. I think I was going to tell him to queue up the live stream and we'll go live. Could you imagine me on the air live in that condition?
Yes.
Okay, John's turn to go down the hall. Chris, what was that name of that stuff? Statesman Bourbon? Rich, you got to get a bottle of this stuff.
Oh yeah,
Carrie,
that was those stuff that Chris and Dan had to pour you into a wheelbarrow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carrie's too young for stuff like that.
Come on. I gotta try something.
Oh.
But really, I've tried a bourbon once before, and yeah, that stuff is way too strong for me. I'll just have now if it's mixed in with something, I'll drink it. But yeah, street bourbon, no.
Yeah. Chris, this is what Chris is talking about the text. He says, yep, and it was more cryptic than the opening of Rock of Ages, the Def Leppard song. What do you got there, Rich?
Jim Beam Orange. The citrus takes a lot of the bite from the bourbon away, so it's really nice and smooth.
Okay. I walked into my room, and the first thing I heard was Jim Beam porn.
Jim Beam Orange.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I wasn't actually sitting in front of the computers. I was across the room.
And Chris says, yeah, it was Statesman Bourbon. Now, is Chris on that much of a delay? Oh, Rich, how the hell did you do that? Yeah, that was a quick move. You were sitting there like this, and it just went. Boop. Didn't even look like you turned. It was. Boop.
As I'm looking at things on the website, so I was actually doing a web search for Statesman Bourbon. Sometimes it causes enough of a lag. So, okay, so yeah, that does answer my question. Okay, because I was about ready to ask if it was Old Forester.
Yeah. It was originally made for the movie The Kingsman Part 2, where they came to America.
Yeah, that was. They opened a vault that was one of those in case of emergency break glass kind of things. And when they opened the vault, all that was in it was a bottle of bourbon, and it was a clue as to where they were supposed to go to find help. And the Kingsmen, of course, is the English organization in England that follows the king. The Statesmen were the U.S. version of them. That
and whereas the Kingman
the United States
hid everything by tailors, the Statesmen were distillers.
Distillers made their own bourbon.
Yeah. Chris says it was their American cousins.
But strangely
With,
enough, they had the Mandalorian working for them.
Pedro Pascal and Pecos, I think, was the
Tequila.
character's name. Oh, Tequila. That's right. No, they were all named after.
They were all named after
boozes.
alcohol. Tequila, whiskey. What was Channing Tatum's character? Was he whiskey? No.
I don't remember. Rich, have you ever heard of the drink called the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse?
Usually it's Jose, Jack, Jim, and Johnny, I think.
No. Jim, George, Jack, and their bastard cousin Jose.
Oh, wait a minute. Channing Tatum was Tequila. Okay. And then, darn it. I hate that they changed their format and you got to go up and hit type cat.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
If you want to see, they'll show you the main actors, but if you want to see the other ones, you got to click. You got to click to the old page. I'm like, what's the point? You know.
And Chris says it was their code names, he thinks.
Yep. Pedro Pascal was whiskey.
Okay.
Where is... Jeff Bridges played Champ. Is Champ an alcohol? Oh, Champagne. Everybody calls him Champ.
Yeah,
of course, the best thing about that movie, of course, was Elton John.
That's right. What did he do?
He got kidnapped by that lady that loved everything 1970s.
Oh, yeah, okay.
As to be her personal music slave or whatever. And have a Elton John concert every night.
Yeah.
I love the part they come in to rescue him, and the guy's holding him hostage. He winds up beating the hell out of the guy with the kung fu moves.
Now, there was a third movie that came out that was a prequel.
Yeah, The King's Man.
The King's Man. Yeah, that was a good one, too. It was along the lines of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I like that. I remember that name. That was a good movie. Stop that. Stop it. No, Kerry, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to me. Kerry turned around. What did I do? What did I do? What did I do?
I thought you were talking to my printer for a second there. Be like, stop that.
And Kerry also, you better not pull that stunt with the Wi-Fi.
Oh, don't worry. I don't have a printer. I'm not going to bring the printer with me. Or tap into anyone else's printers for that matter.
Yeah, Chris goes, you and your printer. I'm going to tell you, after my printer horror story, I don't want to ever have to deal with printer problems again.
I hear that.
I mean, it took me 3 hours to figure out the reason the computer wouldn't accept the printer is there was no paper in the printer.
Printer not ready.
PC love letter? What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, it would it would do all the stuff and then it goes printer not recognized. So I'd uninstall.
Weird error for no paper.
Yeah. So it was I'd reload everything. I was using the quick guide. It just said do this, do this, do this, have fun. Well, once I finally after about the 5th time I uninstalled, rebooted, reinstalled all this, I get the long form instructions out. Put paper in it. Huh? So I get 3 pieces of paper and put in it. Go through the process. Printer recognized. Enjoy your printer. Motherfucker. Let's just say there was a strongly worded terse email to Canon's feedback department. With scans of each instruction manual. The reply back is, oh, we've discontinued that printer. I wonder why. I wonder why. Walmart was just selling out what they had in stock.
My father-in-law. He is a frugal man. He decides to buy this wireless printer for, I think it was $15. There's no screen on the printer. Your screen is the app you download to your phone.
That he doesn't have.
Well, no, he had, but the thing is, you had to set your phone up a certain way so that it just went through the Wi-Fi network. so that it was on the same network as the actual printer to do the things, instead of, you know, living out in BFE where he has really crap Wi-Fi to begin with. So everything I usually do is usually going through the phone's, going through my data. So I hated setting up that printer with a passion. And the funny thing is, a good portion of it was he was calling our brother-in-law, well, my brother-in-law, down in Indianapolis to have him try to walk him through setting things up. And I'm like, Dad, why are you calling someone 3 hours away? Can't see anything that's going on, instead of one of the two son-in-laws that live literally 5 minutes down the road. And especially, why not call the one who actually does IT for a living?
I didn't.
One of the things that I love my father to death, and there were times I wanted to strangle him to prove it. He would call my sister, who is not technical in any way, shape, and or form. And he'd have her try to fix things with his computer, and I'm like, why? You know, well, I don't want to bother you. You know, Dad, well, first off, if I come to take a look at it after work, I'm already halfway here. The bus stop is halfway between my place and yours. Oh, darn, I have to go visit my dad. But it's like, instead, you have them break it even worse. So I've got to come out here and get even more frustrated, try to figure out what they did to undo so I can get your system running the way you need it to run. I'm like, just call me. Well, I don't want to. Dad, it's more bother for me to have to fix whatever they break. Just call me. You call me in the end. But that's one issue I don't have to worry about anymore. So, but yeah, it's ups was fun.
Yeah, my dad, he called. No, my dad will call me. Trust me, he will call me, and he'll get something all fouled up, like the remote that's built into his Toyota truck for the garage door. So, you know, he calls me, he goes, well, you did it last time. I said, yeah. And if you remember, I told you, I don't know what I did. It just started working. After 55 attempts, it just started working. So finally, I pulled out my phone and he said, who are you calling? I said, let me do this. I pull up YouTube. How to program garage door remote on Toyota pickups. We watched 3 videos. All 3 videos said do something different. So, you know, we go through the process. And finally, I get it. And, you know, I put it in. One of the times, it would open the garage door, but it wouldn't close it. And, you know, and finally, I got it to work. So I back his truck out. Realized I was a truck driver for a living. Backing up a truck is what I do. I start backing out, and he goes, look out the back window. I said, I don't need to look out the back window. You've got 2 side mirrors. You can't always see stuff out. I said, Daddy, what did I do for a living? What did I teach you? I said, what did I do for a living? I said, I drove a truck for 28 years that had no back window. So I back out. I get it backed out. I get the garage door to open and close. Every time I push the button, it was supposed to. So I go pulling back in. Granted, I didn't turn the steering wheel in. It was straight back, and I'm going straight in. He starts screaming and hollering, "You're going to hit my mirror! You're going to hit my mirror!" And I look over and I said, "There's that much room between your mirror and the garage door." He's like, "Doesn't look like it to me." I go, "Where are you standing?" He's on the other side of the truck. I love my dad, but
One of my
man,
favorite stories about my pops.
yeah.
And this is one of my favorite memories of him because he started, after this incident, he started actually looking at me as kind of a peer instead of the fat screw up kid I always was. So I was still living at my parents' place at the time. I was in my mid 20s. And we do all of our gift exchange on Christmas Eve. So for Christmas Eve, I bought him a crap ton of components to go into his computer. So 3 o'clock in the morning, Richie, you want to put that stuff in my computer now? I was actually up. I was playing EverQuest, John, of all things. So I'm like, yeah, let me get to the point because I was actually on the boat. So I had to wait till I got to a port and get off. Otherwise, I'd wake up in the ocean. So come downstairs. The entire computer is torn apart. All of the components are laid on the wool carpeting. I start twitching. If you, the IT people in your life, do not set computer components on wool anything. My dad lucked out. Nothing shorted out. Nothing got statically charged to, flip out or anything like that. So things were good. So I start putting the computer back together. He's like, "You're doing it wrong." I just kind of look at him like, "No, I'm not. Go back to what I'm doing." "You're doing it wrong." "Dad, what makes you think that?" "Well, this right here." I'm like, "Dad, what do you say about the manual?" "The manual doesn't know shit." Exactly. But I'm like, "Dad, I built this computer in the first place. I know how I had it put together." So I finally, get everything put in and stuff like that. And, well, actually, before I finally get it done, he keeps bugging me a few more times. And I stopped, I looked at him. I'm like, "Dad, do I tell you how to fix furnaces and air conditioners for a living?" He's like, "No." Looking at me like I'm an idiot. He's like, "What are you, stupid? No, of course you wouldn't be able to do that." I'm like, "Then don't tell me how to do my job." And he just kind of just like, "Shit, never thought about that before." And then he shut up the rest of the time and has never questioned me fixing any of his computers ever since.
Of course, my dad will tell me, he'll get everything all fouled up and all this. I get over there and it's just boop, boop, boop. It's fixed. He doesn't say, "Thank you. It was driving me crazy. I couldn't do it." I wondered how long it would take you to figure it out. I knew that all along.
When it came to computers, my dad would not do that. When it came to other things, yes. So if I'm trying to sit there, but then again, my pops is from backwoods, Wisconsin. So, and he grew up in the 40s and the 50s. So You couldn't take your car to a mechanic. You had to know how to fix it yourself and stuff like that. Um, the thing I hated more than anything else in the world was trying to help my father fix a car. I hated that with a passion. Richie, hand me the torque wrench. This? No, the torque wrench. This? No, the goddamn torque wrench. I'm 5. What's a torque wrench? It's in the top. I can't reach that yet. I'm 5. So yeah, it's my father was a great person to watch to figure out how to fix things and how to do things. He was a horrible person to try to teach people how to do things. He had zero patience whatsoever. My late brother-in-law. So I was over at my sister's house, my eldest sister. She was cutting my hair because she was fairly decent and cheap, and I was broke. So she was giving me a haircut. Tim walks in, and he just has this look like someone just kicked his puppy. And my sister asked him what was wrong. He's like, your dad hit me today. Without missing a beat, my sister and I were both like, you weren't moving fast enough, were you? And he's just like, how did you know? We grew up with the man. His idea of showing you how to do something was to do something he's been doing for 20 to 30 years, full speed in front of you, and then expecting you to know how to do it. You do it, show you once. Then you'd sit there and you'd sit there and try to do what he just did. He would get so frustrated, he would literally slap you out of the way and finish doing it himself.
The quickest way to start a fight between me and my father is raise the hood.
The quickest way to get me to disappear from my father's presence is to raise the hood.
Oh, and you'll understand this. Kids today will never understand the problem and the mental stress and trauma of holding a flashlight for your dad.
All right. You think trying to hold a flashlight so they can see under a car is bad. Try being the flashlight when your dad is working on a furnace.
On a fern?
Furnace.
Okay, you glitched.
Yeah, on a furnace, on a heater. You know, so like a quarter of the real estate you have in a, engine compartment. You know, you're sitting here and trying to do some weird, unique poses so that the light's just in the right places. And oh god, that was murder. So because my sisters acted, I had to start working with my dad whenever school wasn't in session. Because, of course, boys are always supposed to be worse than girls. I sat in my room and I read. I was a nerd.
And Chris is going, yep, they will. You think you got issues of your parents yelling at you now? Rich, how old are you?
I am 49 years old.
You may understand these 3 words that you will reach and rub the back of your calves.
Cut me a switch?
No. Hot Wheels track.
My pops never used a Hot Wheels track.
My mom did.
My pops had me cut a few screws. My dad had a special belt. He never wore it. This white, much stiffer, thicker leather than his standard belt. Um, you were okay if you pissed him off and he went to take off his belt. You knew you'd be able to sit down tonight. If you knew you were in for a whooping by the look on his face and he went into his bedroom, you were praying for death because you knew he was getting the white belt. And the white belt meant you ain't sitting for about a day and a half.
He's had time to think about it.
And that's 3 stripes. That's not wailing and stuff like that. Not being able to sit for a day and a half off of 3 fucking stripes.
And that's all it, any more than 3 is abuse. The first one is anger. The second one is, did you feel it, and was your punishment? 3 stripes. Now,
generally,
did you ever
3 stripes is my limit for my kids, unless they stole or lied. Then it was 5.
Oh, and Rich, you know the sound of the belt coming through the belt loops.
You hear that, son of a. All right. Yeah. My mom.
That's another sound kids will never understand or never hear.
My mom was vicious. So my mom, lesson that she taught my wife is, make sure that you never hit. And in my family, we don't strike first on a girl. We fight back to defend ourselves and to get out of the situation. But otherwise, I wouldn't have survived. I'm the youngest of 3, and I'm the only boy. My sisters were my first bullies, but my mom was devious. She told my wife that, and it's the philosophy she had with my dad. My dad would be able to hit my mom once because he would have to sleep sometimes, and she knows where the frying pans are.
Oh,
So we always knew if dad disappeared and mom has new frying pans, we knew what happened. But mom would break brooms over my back. The thing is, from the time I was 8, I've had a knot between my shoulder blades that is just insane. Every time she would break that broom across my back, it would lay across that knot so I wouldn't feel it, but afterwards I'd be like, I can actually move again.
Oh, Chris, yeah. Half a dozen hickory switches intertwined. Your legs look like candy canes. Yeah. Oh, and go cut me a switch. You better not bring back something that was.
Yeah, that was more torture than the actual whooping itself. Because you're like, all right, that will make me have to come back and cut 2 because I'll have to cut 1 to actually get through the one I was actually told to come out to get. And then because I bring back something that's such a joke, I'm going to have to, cut another because they're going to wear the first one out.
Oh, and John will agree. Down here, we've got something called privet. A privet bush or a privet tree. It's basically a wild boxwood. I mean, the limbs on that will grow probably 5-6 feet long. You could snap one of those off and shred it. Well, de-leaf it. Snap, pow, pow, pow. I mean, they can light you up with a privet switch in just what looks like one move. From tree to your ass, and it's already without leaves in the blink of an eye.
A bundle of Hot Wheels tracks.
Yeah, that's one privet thing. I mean, a privet branch, if you flip it just right, it will crack. And I don't mean crack in half. Pow! Break the sound barrier on the end of it.
Yeah, we had some willows
I'm
up here that.
Tonight, 'cause I'm getting ready to pass out here. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, well, we've done an extra hour, so everybody that tunes in for Last Man Standing, we gave you half an effort. I think I'm gonna call it a night too, guys. Thank you, Rich, for being here. Thank you, John, for staying awake an extra hour. Thank you, Josh, for showing us your paper cutting abilities.
Gotta do what I gotta do for the weekend.
Yeah. And with that, good night, everybody. Thanks, everybody. And
Everybody.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Where'd it go? I'm going to do this. If I can, where did you go? There it is. And with that, I'm going to risk the thing and say good night, everybody. And this is for John, especially.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand, and touched the face of God.
Good night, everybody!